go starting here. Doctor's office. Native American blankets. Perfect. Let's go here. Careful. This is the yellow brick road. Could use a little bit of cleaning up. So we'll go on a tour in a minute. Hey, look, we got Dorthy and Toto giving us a tour. Where am I? Is that my phone? Okay, that's where the donkey is.
Well, to begin our tour, we have our famous yellow brick road. This road has over 2,400 bricks. Right here is the famous Liza Minnelli's brick. Liza Minnelli is the daughter of Judy Garland, who played Dorothy in the movie. All these bricks were bought by somebody, by people or companies. That's why they're all engraved with names. Now we don't sell these at the moment because we recently just lost our graver. Right here you can see some bricks of all the character names in cursive. Here's my favorite brick. I'm sure you can tell why it's my favorite.
Emerald City.
Now we're not going to go over there, but you're welcome to after the tour. Around the lion, there are Munchkin hands and footprints that the Munchkins came and pressed into the bricks whenever this place opened, about 41 years ago. Now this shows the story of how my house came to be. Now this house right here was built in 1907 and it was donated here in 1981 when this whole place opened by a man named Max Zimmerman. Right here is Ronald Reagan's and the First Lady's brick. They could not come out here, but they bought a brick to support us. Would you guys like to head into the house?
Yes.
I'm sure it's way cooler in there. Thank you.
I was about to ask if I could play.
Right there is my Auntie and Uncle Henry's bedroom. On the bed you can see some church clothes. Next to those clothes is the collar. It was actually called a starched collar. It is used to make men look nice and tidy, but my Auntie always said it was to keep my Uncle Henry awake because he'd fall asleep and the collar would pinch his neck to wake him back up. Now on the carpet, that's a chamber pot. That was the toilet of the house and he could not make it out to the outhouse. Right here in the living room, we have a Victrola. It's powered by this crank on the side. Now these flaps open and close to make sound louder or softer. And down there is where you'd hold all of your extra records. Now right here is my favorite item to play with. It's called a stereoscope. These two images, when you look inside, fuse together and make a 3D image. You can move it with this little handle right here and hold it with this lever. Would you like to look?
Yes.
This is to help focus it, because sometimes your eyes will stay crossed for a while.
This. 2111.
If you can't tell, we have a lot of pictures to look at.
Famous old palace and prison of royalty, London, England. That is, God, that's massive. Sheesh.
I know these just look like books, but they're actually just more pictures for you to look at.
Pictures.
Oh, wow.
A lot of storage space.
Wow.
This right here is a radio. It's really big compared to the radios we have today. Because we obviously didn't have TV, so we listened to radio shows rather than watching TV shows. Now right here is our potbelly stove. It's what was used to heat up the entire house. Now we couldn't afford coal or wood, so we'd have to use cow chips. We'd have to put them outside and dry them out so there'd be no smell. Now right there is my bedroom. Cow chips.
Cow chips? Okay.
Right there is my bedroom. On the wall you can see some of my extra dresses hanging there. On the ground there's a suitcase. It's for me and Toto to run away with. And on top of that suitcase is an extra pair of my favorite slippers.
Ruby slippers.
Now next to the room is a picture of the actual Dorothy's room from the set. MGM Studios took a picture before they tore it down and then sent it to us so we can replicate it. Now this piano is the oldest piano in Seward County. It was built in 1899. All the keys work except for two, and all the keys are actually made out of real ivory. Now you're welcome to follow me into the kitchen. It's a pretty big kitchen. Now this cup is my favorite cup of the house, but I don't have to use it because I don't have a mustache. At least I don't think I do. Why you had it? Because men would wax their mustaches. If you recall, men would always have those curly stashes. And the heat of the drink would melt the wax into it, making it taste really bad. So this would protect it from melting.
Oh, wow.
That's neat.
Now right here we have a few different types of irons. This is powered by kerosene. This one was really dangerous. I don't recommend using it. This one's coal, and this is stovetop. Just like this one, and they were also known as switch irons. So we're able to take up the handle, switch it, So basically how this would work is you heat this one up and use this one, and you had to switch it about 5 times with only one piece of clothing. Can you guys tell me what this is?
That looks
Grater.
like a lantern. Oh no, it does look like a grater, but it also looks like a lantern.
Most people say lantern or cheese grater or fly trap, but it's actually a toaster.
Oh, top. Oh, I see.
You
I
put your
see.
bread on the side.
On the sides. Oh, that's neat.
The stove would heat up in the center. People still use these. They don't look the exact same, but similar for camping.
Okay.
Now right here is our Hoosier cabinet. It's 9 with 10 on the top, now throughout the inside. It was used to keep your food cool, but because it was 9 with 10, you could actually hear rodents crawling in there. Luckily, they weren't able to get into any of your food because it's tin. Now this is a built-in flour sifter. Unlike today, your flour comes pre-sifted, so you get a thick bag and put it through the top and sift out anything you didn't want in there out of it. And right here is a built-in meat grinder.
Yeah, my bad.
We use those to make boudin in Louisiana. You ever had it?
Make what?
Boudin.
It's a
No,
sausage.
It's like a sausage.
Oh, okay. Now this is an ice box. It's practically a refrigerator, but unlike your refrigerator today, it actually holds a 25-pound block of ice on the top, and it melts all the way down the side and goes to a drip pan on the bottom. When you ran out of ice, you had to put a card in the window, and the man who delivers your ice would see it and bring you a new block. Now back there is our pantry. Everybody loves how large it is. And it's pretty spacious because we'd only go to the store about every few months compared to today. Today we usually go about every other weekend. And on the left side you can see 3 pressure cookers. We didn't really know how to use them, so they more than likely explode every single time we did. Right by those butter churners is a Sears and Roebuck's catalog. That catalog is a 1902 version, and you can buy pretty much anything and everything in that catalog, including houses, but the only difference is you had to build your house yourself. Now those papers next to the opening are papers from the catalog that shows you how much stuff used to be. And my favorite item on that list is the 5-piece furniture set for only $14.95. $14.95 in 1902 would be around $500 today.
Wow.
It's a spindle.
Now right here we have lye soaps. They're all made of the same thing, lye, lard, and ash. They feel like wax and kind of smell like crayons. Would you like to feel it? It was used to clean everything. It was a little hard on your hair or hard on your skin, and it was so hard on your hair that your hair would get so dry it just break apart. This is our water pump. We usually have it outside, but we brought it to show you. And now this is the cup, I couldn't say that word for some reason, that we'd all drink out of. So if I got sick, everybody did. Luckily, guests did not have to worry about that though, because the guests actually got their own cup when they came over. Please watch your step when you walk in here. There's a little bit of a drop. Now this is the workroom. This is where my Uncle Henry likes to be. And this is our egg incubator. It holds up to 300 eggs. Now each egg had an X on one side, that way you know which way you flipped it. But if it didn't flip it often, the chicken gets stuck on one side and actually drown on their own fluid. And this whole thing was powered by kerosene, which was still very dangerous. Now this is where you wash all of your clothing. You can see the washboard right there. And if you can't tell, this hat is really torn. That's because when you're bringing out your clothing, sometimes this one gets stuck or your clothes would just tangle in there. So you have to rip them out. If your hair got stuck in there, you'd have to cut your hair off. And same thing with your fingers. Sounds very painful. Now this is our cream separator. It separates the milk from the cream. It was powered by this lever on the side. You have to spin it 48 times a minute, and when you heard that little ding, that means you're actually spinning it too slow. And it holds 65 discs inside of it that power. Now you have to take these apart every single time you use it and clean every single one, or else your cream will be contaminated. And if you didn't put it back in this exact order, the machine would not work.
Wow.
Now, you get you can make cheese with certain parts of that.
Yes, it was mainly made for butter, but you were able to make other things out of it.
So neat.
Has the telephone.
Telephones are homemade stilts. It worked either way. You would hold them up here and... Now those are my roller skates. I lost a key that made them bigger. You always have one pair your entire life.
I had one of those.
You can actually see where they expand. Do you guys have any questions?
Oh, this is nice.
No
I like my house. That's a little stove that's actually used to cook things, a little oven.
Believe it or not, I'm not that old. I'm 50, but I've seen a lot of this in like my grandmother's home and my aunts, her sisters. So this stuff is like, wow. I didn't know it was that old. And they still had it.
Very antique items.
Yes.
Now would you guys like to head into Land of Oz?
Sure.
We're just gonna go out the front door. Yeah. Now this is our storm shelter. If you recall in the movie, my family... Oh, I'm on like one of the beds.
Can you go in there?
No, it's actually nailed shut. And if there's actually a storm, I would not go in there. It's only 4 inches deep.
Oh, 4 inches deep. That's not enough.
Maybe Toto could fit in there. Now when you get inside, please be sure to stand behind the white line.
Okay.
Now this entire building is called a green exhibit. That means everything in here is complete recycled material. You can see it a lot in Munchkinland and kind of outside Emerald City. It was built in 1995, which was about 15 years after the space opened. And just to make sure, are you two okay with flashing lights and loud noises? So the story begins with me and my best friend, Dorthy. We're on our way to school, but of course, Toto's the dog. He could not go to school, so I sent him back home. On his way home, he decided to run from Mrs. Gulch's door. We all know Mrs. Gulch. She's a very mean lady. She doors the window, Toto running in, finding your ankles, and chasing your old little cat. I knew that definitely wasn't true, but because of it, she had an order for Toto to be taken away immediately. So, she went to my house and took him away in her bicycle. But luckily, Toto, being the very smart dog he is, jumped right out of her basket and ran all the way home to me. But since I knew Mrs. Gulch came once, she'd definitely come again. So me and Toto decided to run away together. I packed up her suitcase, much like the one in my house over there, and we went off on our journey. On our journey, we came across a caravan trailer. It read, Professor Marvel. They told me he could read my past, present, and future. So I knew I had to know my future, so I hopped inside, and he started showing me his crystal ball. That's when he told me he saw a woman, and she was crying. I knew that's from LTM, and I had to get home right away. So when I stepped out, I saw storms approaching. So I said, well, goodbye, Professor Marvel, and see what get going. So I ran into my house, and I closed the gate. Then I ran inside. Auntie Ann! Uncle Henry! Auntie Ann! Where are you guys? The storm's coming! Maybe they're outside. That's when the skies were completely dark. Stay calm, Hickory! I couldn't find them anywhere. My last chance was to check the storm cellar. Auntie Ann, Uncle Henry, open up! See where we landed?
Yes.
You're welcome to step off the white one.
Okay.
I told Toto, I've got a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. I think we landed somewhere over the rainbow. When I was looking around, that's when this very pretty woman appeared. And then she asked me, "Are you a good witch or are you a bad witch?" I said, "Well, I know witch at all. I'm Dorthy from Kansas." And then she looked down at Toto and asked if he was a witch. I said, "Well, of course not. He's my dog." She said, "Well, the Munchkins told me that a witch landed her house on the Wicked Witch of the East. So here you are, here's your house, and that's all that's left of her. So I'm going to ask you again. Are you a good witch or a bad witch?" I replied, "Like I said, I'm no witch at all. Witches are old and ugly." That's when I heard giggling around me. I asked her why everybody was laughing. And then she said she was Glinda, the good witch of the north. I said, "Well, pardon me, I had no idea. But because Ding Dong the Wicked Witch is dead, me and the Munchkins all decided to celebrate. So we all started dancing and singing and having a whole bunch of fun. And then we got interrupted by the Wicked Witch of the West had appeared. She asked all of us, "Who killed my sister? Who killed the Wicked Witch of the East? Was it you?" I said, "No, I didn't mean to. But all the witch cared about was those ruby slippers." So when she went to go pick them up, they disappeared. We looked around, and then we looked down, and we saw they were on my feet. I knew Glinda had put them there. And then the witch said to me, "Well, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too." And she disappeared to a cloud of red smoke. That really scared me, and I really wanted to get home. So I asked Glinda, "How do I get home?" She told me all I had to do was follow the yellow brick road to go see the wizard. So that's what I decided to do. Follow me. We skipped all the way out of Munchkin Land. This is when me and Toto met crossroads. I did not know which way to go. So I asked Toto, "Which way should we go?" And of course, he
That
just,
way looks nice. And of course that way looks nice too.
"Oh my goodness, you could talk."
Yes, I can talk, but I can't get down from this post because I haven't got a brain.
"Well, maybe we should go see the wizard. I know he can give you a brain."
You think so? Get me down from here and I'll go with you.
"Oh, well, I'm kind of busy right now. Give this nice tour. But I could probably come back for you later."
Of course, I don't want to hold up your tour. I'll be right here. I'm not going anywhere.
"Okay, bye."
Bye, everyone.
I thought about it. He deserved to come with us. So I got around that post and we went on our way. But all this walking and talking was making me very hungry. Luckily, there was an apple orchard. When I reached for an apple, the tree smacked me on the wrist called me rude. I said, "Well, you're rude for smacking me on the wrist." The tree said, "Well, how would you like it if someone were to pick something off of you?" I said, "Well, I guess I wouldn't like it at all." And the scarecrow said something very smart when I have a brain. He said, "Well, she does not want to eat your apples anyway." Tree replied, "Well, my apples not what they ought to be?" Scarecrow said, "No, she does not want to eat apples with little green worms in them." That made the trees very angry, so they started throwing apples at us. But of course, that's what we wanted because we were hungry. So when I was eating an apple, I came across a man made of tin. The witch is very interruptive. She's a witch. But all I was hearing from this tin man was, It sounded like he was saying oil can. So I looked around, and sure enough, there was an oil can. So I oiled them all up. That's when the Tin Man thanked me, and he said he'd been resting there for ages. I said, "Well, that must have been awful lonely." He replied, "Well, I can't really feel mad, glad, or sad. or even lonely. I don't have a heart. I'm all hollow. I said, well, you should come with us to see the wizard. I know he can give you a heart. And he said, sure, I'd love to. Then we saw a cabin, and the Wicked Witch of the West was on top of it. Now the witch was very angry that we made it this far, and that I had 2 friends along with me. So she made a fireball and threw it right at Scarecrow. Luckily, it barely missed him, and although Tin Man doesn't have a heart, he took off his tin hat and put out the fire. And then we had to go into the woods. So we started worrying about lions and tigers and bears, oh my! Lions and tigers and bears, oh my! Lions and tigers and bears, oh my! That's when a huge lion was out and started chasing after Toto. And I scooped Toto up and I bonked that lion right in the nose. But to my surprise, this lion started crying. He said, why would you do that? I didn't even bite him. I said, well, you're trying to. For an awful big lion, he was an awful big scaredy cat. That's when I knew he lacked courage. So I asked him if he wanted to come with us to see the wizard. He said, why not? And then we met a sign. It read, Haunted Forest, Witch's Castle, 1 mile. I turned back if I were you. This scared us a lot, but luckily we got enough strength to keep going. And throughout this whole journey, we had no idea the witch was watching us in her crystal ball this whole time. So what she did was send out some soldiers to come after me and my friends. Butterfly monkeys only picked up me and Toto and took us all the way back to her castle. When we got there, the witch demanded to give her these slippers or else she'd drown Toto in the river. I didn't want that to happen to my dog, so I said, here, take them, I don't even want them. But when she went to go take them, they zapped her. That really scared me. That really scared Toto, pardon me. So what he did was manage to jump off the drawbridge to get my friends. After a while, they finally came back, and that made the witch even more angry. So she made a fireball again and threw it at Scarecrow again. This time, it actually landed on him. Luckily, I found a bucket of water, put it on Scarecrow, and some of the water landed on the witch. I'm melting, melting! What a world, what a world! How can a little girl like you destroy my beautiful wickedness? And then the witch melted right into the ground. That's why I took a witch's broom, because he knew the wizard wanted to see it. Now in there, you can see a little mannequin set of scene with Dorothy and the soldier. And please wash your head when you walk in. When we got here, I rang the doorbell. Ding dong. A little man popped out of the door. He said, well, can't you read? I said, well, read what? He said, the sign, points a nose on my face. This man didn't have a nose. He also did not realize he forgot to put up the sign. So what he did, it read, bell out of order, please not. So when I did that, he popped out again. He said, well, that's more like it. State your business. I said, we're here to see the wizard. He said, the wizard? I haven't even seen the wizard. Who sent you? I told him Glenda did. He asked me to prove it, so I showed him these ruby slippers. They said, why didn't you say so? Come on in. That's a horse of a different color. Sure enough, when we got inside, there was a horse of a different color. Now that's when I asked the coachman if he could take us to see the wizard. He said, well, of course I can, darling, but I cannot take you guys something like that. You need to get tied up. So he went into wash and brush up. The lion got a perm and a pretty red bow. The Tin Man got buffed. The Scarecrow got restuffed. I got my eyes tried to match my justice slippers and a new hairdo. gonna go see this wizard. When we got here, the wizard asked us what we wanted. I said, well, Snicker wants a brain, Timon wants a heart, Lion wants courage, and I want to go home. Now he thanked us for bringing him the witch's broom, and then he told us to come back tomorrow. I said, tomorrow? I need to go home now! The wizard insisted we leave. What Toto did, he moved the curtain and exposed a man speaking to a microphone. He turned out to be the wizard, and he finally agreed to give us all what we wanted. And then he fired up his hot air balloon. Now this is when he gave Scarecrow a PhD, a doctorate of mythology. He gave Timon a heart that even ticked, and then he gave Lion a badge of courage. And he was going to take me home. But when we started lifting off, Toto jumped down and started chasing after a cat. I couldn't leave my dog here, so I went and picked him up. When I turned back around, the hot air balloon was flying away. Hey, come back! I need to go home! The wizard replied, well, I'm sorry. I don't know how to work this thing. And he said bye. Wall of Emerald City. That's when I knew I was stuck here forever. Luckily, that's the one that had appeared. I asked her, well, how do I get home now? She told me I had the power to get home all along. All I had to do was click my heels 3 times and think to myself, there's no place like home. So that's what I did. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. When I woke up, Monty and Uncle Henry were next to me, and I said, oh, Auntie Anne, there's no place like home. As he ended up landing.
Loved it.
If you remember in the movie The House Spinning Around in the Tornado, it's actually that house.